What is going on, everybody, and welcome in to episode number 52. 52,
baby.
52.
52 and I love you.
It's crazy.
No, I love
I don't know
you.
about you, but
I
I'm
love you,
feeling
Scruff.
52.
Wow, man, this is like the year.
I
it's
can't
22,
drive
52.
52. No, wait, that's
No,
55.
that's 55.
That's a couple episodes.
We'll get there. We'll get
Yeah.
there. Hey.
We will get there.
Quit rushing us.
My bad.
Don't bring up Russia right now, please.
Hey, man.
no.
Well, we love China.
Yep. It's official.
Just want to make sure Craig knows.
You have to say that though, because we're being recorded right
Craig,
now.
we love China. I'm old Craig. You might know it. You might remember that. No.
Yeah,
I do. I love old Grey.
Yes.
I'm right.
Oh, you like
Yes,
drinking
I do.
Bailey's from a shoe?
Do you
Yeah.
Go
love
to a
me?
club where people weavy on it.
So good. Speaking of which, for whatever reason, hi, by the way, it's episode 52 of the Pre-Patch Podcast.
Already derailed.
But have you ever
new?
seen me and my wife went through a thing last week where we were literally watching old 2000s meme videos of when YouTube
Too
first
much.
started and nobody knew what the fuck to put on there. So it was things like the rusty spoons or whatever else.
Yeah.
And
Salad fingers.
salad fingers and fuck.
Dude,
Rusty
Salad
spoon.
Fingers was
It's
amazing.
so creepy, dude.
Yeah,
It's so
I
creepy.
love it.
And then you had what was the other one we watched? 55 drinking out of cups.
Dude, I love drinking out of cups.
Dude, whose chair is this? Fuck this chair.
Whose chair is that? Not my chair, not my problem. That's what I say.
Mr. Walkway walking down the walkway. It's fucking great.
I love seahorses.
Dude,
Probably the unicorn.
early 2000s.
I was about to say the
YouTube was
only one
great.
that I remember is Charlie bit me.
Oh my god.
Charlie.
Okay, boomer.
That
Okay,
actually
boomer.
just sold as an NFT, by the way.
Yeah,
Of course
What,
it
did it?
did.
No.
of course. Did
Here
Charlie
we go.
Did Charlie get
Doesn't
any of the money
surprise me.
or no?
Yeah, they actually used the money from the NFT to pay off their student loan debt.
Oh, well, congratulations to him, I guess.
It went to
Yeah.
a decent cause at the very least for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
That's the one that went to a decent cause out of the NFT world. It didn't somehow Logan or Jake Paul has got their fucking hands in it. They're getting paid out of it somehow. I don't know how, but they own every NFT. It's great. Well, welcome in everybody again. It's episode 52 of the Pre-Patch Podcast. We are here with the full crew. And man, it's going to be a great show. We've got a lot of awesome stuff to talk about, and 2022 is delivering when it comes to gaming news. So it's going to be a fun ride. Buckle up, sit down, strap in. Whether you're listening to us live here across all of our channels on Twitch or over on YouTube's with Billy the Squid. Without the underscores now, the new and improved version of Billy the Squid.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how much underscores just fuck your searchability.
And say they probably do hinder you because people don't want to put them in.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
it's like that on most places, yeah.
or maybe you're watching Scruffy's shorts or TikToks when he's doing the Battlefield things, over
They're
there.
popping. That's where they're at.
Or,
Are they TikToks or what was it? What was it called? It wasn't TikTok. It was
I mean, I've
those
never
other
seen
plays,
somebody
the
twerk
game
and
we
play
won.
Battlefield as well as you do, Scruff. That's impressive.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
what was the gaming TikTok you were using? I can't remember.
Oh, Hover, yeah.
Hover, yeah.
Hover's a new app that's pretty much like TikTok, but it's solely gaming clips. You can even
Yeah.
link your Twitch to it, which is sweet. So like when you're live on Twitch and somebody's viewing your clip on there, it'll say a little live button and it visit them on Twitch. It goes directly
Oh.
to you. So it's actually really cool.
It's great that another
is
platform
dope.
is giving more discoverability to Twitch than Twitch gives its own fucking creators. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's great.
So check out Hover and
It is
follow me.
great. But yeah,
Follow me on Hover.
if you're not able to join us live, then obviously, hopefully you guys are catching us on any of the podcast programs that you guys use. Again, anchor.fm/prepatch podcast will get you the link and you can use that to go and kind of, like I said, download us anywhere you're at or anywhere you listen to podcasts from. !show or podcast in the channel also will get you to be able to communicate live with us. And then again, the link to actually download the show. So it's gonna be a good show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're gonna kick off like we always do with the Twitch and YouTube news. And Yeah, I don't Twitch's stuff. I think that just recently came out. I think it was today or yesterday. I don't know when I got. I'd have to go back and check when I got the email from them. But have you guys seen kind of the new thing that Twitch is doing with their way to combat DMCA? And I again, if you're not live, the fucking finger quotes here of combating DMCA.
I haven't
Yeah,
heard the new
you
news.
mean caving into
Oh my
DMCA,
God.
only making it so that they're gonna let you know before they stick it in.
Like they start.
Didn't they
this-
already have that set up though?
They only started with. They only had it with one.
They had it set up with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
They're just branching it out to other
One other media
studios.
channel, I think. I don't even
Universal.
think it's like multiple. I think it's just one.
It's
Yeah.
well, Universal Music Group owns a shit ton of
I mean, it owns a ton.
the audio rights. So the thing here is that like and again, it's just whoever's Twitch's like PR team, marketing team, whoever is like drafting this shit. Like, do they just not proofread it before they send it out? Because it was written in this like fashion of like, oh my God, this is great. We're so excited to announce that we partnered up with UMG and we're gonna allow these like it's good for content creators and our ongoing pursuit to allow streamers to be able to provide the best content that they possibly can and not have to worry about certain things when it comes to music and what's going to happen to their content, because what we're going to do is we're basically going to allow the music groups to sue you faster. And it's just like, wait, what?
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
The end of it was just like this whole like, yeah, no, it's like, no, don't look over here at the burning, heaping pile of shit. Like, no, it's great. It's good for you. Like, absolutely not.
Themselves a pat on the back, like look at
us, dude. We did something.
Good.
Like it's insane. I read through it and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is gonna be great. Like they're doing the Facebook route. They're gonna allow people to stream on there. They went ahead and paid their dues. Like it's 2022 is gonna be a good year for Twitch. And then it's like the last paragraph's like, no, you bend over. You right up the keister, man. Like,
Basically, do you ever see Twitch paying their dues in the future or no?
I don't
Do you think they'll
Twitch-
ever sucker up to it?
I don't think Twitch is profitable enough for Amazon to warrant them actually paying out DMCA licenses.
they're more profitable than Facebook or Meta now.
They're more, but I'd say they're still profitable enough. I don't know.
100% profitable enough to pay. They just don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It has nothing to do with the fact that they don't have the money to pay it. It's just that they don't want to fucking pay it.
The crazy thing is
they make
Crazy,
plenty
man.
of money.
They could morph it into fucking Prime with Amazon Music. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's a difficult thing. We're not talking about like having to rework fucking the law of nature. Like, we're just saying like, hey, like you already do this with Amazon Prime. Like, you allow people to watch videos on Prime or on Twitch through Prime, like with watch parties. So you're paying the rights there. Like, just pay the fucking rights.
Even though they don't actually do that, they just watch Gordon Ramsay reruns.
Well,
you know,
yes.
'cause that
There's-
makes
anime.
the content creators break it anyway, and then yeah. So I don't know. It's yeah. So good job, Twitch. Like
An everlasting fire.
you just I
the
don't know,
gift
man.
that keeps on giving.
It's
man.
like it's like
Twitch is-
I think some. I legitimately think somebody at Twitch was like, guys, we don't have controversy. What the fuck is like? Can someone
what the
just
fuck? What the
blow
fuck? Are this is
something
a pre-patch podcast going to talk about?
Yeah,
we don't have
Jesus
any shit
Christ,
to fucking talk
right?
about.
They said that
Like,
we were
what are
doing
they gonna
good.
do? We can't deprive our best podcast on the entire fucking site of something to talk
Right?
about. This is ridiculous.
Right? Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't know.
And then they called Timmy and they were like, Timmy, figure something out. Let's go. Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
Then they got Craig involved.
Watch
You know. So.
Oh, no.
Craig's
Craig.
always involved, bro. He's always watching in the background.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's Twitch. Congratulations, you took a massive leap backwards. So I'm happy for you, man. I guess that's the business model. Now just run it into the ground. YouTube, Bill, talk to us about the YouTubes because there was some shuffling there in the YouTube world.
Yeah, so YouTube Gaming, the head of YouTube Gaming, is stepping down along with two other executives that I'm not sure what they were managing, but they all departed on the same day, which is a bit sketch.
It's shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit sketch in all honesty. But yeah, so YouTube Gaming, that's the big one. He's going over to Polygon to be a CEO over some like blockchain not blockchain investment, but like blockchain based section of Polygon now. So
Yeah, it's
good luck to him and
it's-
all of his ventures over there.
and just so everybody knows, it's not Polygon like the gaming site. It's Polygon Technology, which is the Ethereum's Internet of Blockchains. Like yeah.
Okay.
They
I was confused for a
Yeah,
second.
I thought it was Polygon as well. So yeah.
No, it's not the gaming site or anything like that. Like this is
Gotcha.
they're basically a platform to develop an ecosystem in the technology and gaming space for NFTs, cryptocurrencies, all of that kind of stuff. So
Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
But some people are seeing this as a pretty big dent to YouTube live and YouTube gaming in general, just because this guy was the one that was kind of supposedly pushing a lot of the innovations and like modernizations, I guess would be the proper word for it, of the YouTube live interface, specifically in regards to like chat functionality and stuff like that. He did a lot of really good work getting the back end of YouTube live and YouTube gaming set up, and I'm pretty sure he was the one that was brokering the deals with like Ludwig and Tim the Tatman and all that stuff to get them over to the platform. But
Well, I think that's
Um,
that's the shocker, is that it was just like after
Yeah.
the end of year where it was just and realistically, like
Oh, it was
when it was
it
so
was
much
it was
promise,
realistically it was like what, 2 months ago that we had a month and a half ago that we had a video from him basically outlining what they wanted to do.
It's kind of sketch because like all this stuff gets promised and then he's gone.
I mean, well, I will say, to be fair, is that it's not like yes, he is the head, which has a lot of kind of say, but also there's a lot of people underneath there that can still direct where this is going to go. I think it's just
yeah,
Have they found did they already hire a replacement or are they looking for one?
did that.
I'm not sure
mean,
on that one.
'cause I was gonna say,
I
I've-
highly doubt that they will release that information until they've actually found some.
Right, but I
Um,
think that's really what it comes down to, Like I hope like there's
Yeah.
still some say beneath that, but like whoever gets filled into that position, there could be a
The-
lot of change.
The promising thing, though, is most of the stuff that he was mentioning in that like month and a half, 2 months ago, meeting about YouTube Live and YouTube Gaming, was reiterated the same day that all those people left. Susan put out a video like outlining the 2022 year and what YouTube is like looking to go into, and she did bring up all of the stuff that was previously mentioned about YouTube Live and making the chat experience better, just completely like emotes, gifted subs, that kind of stuff, like basically the copy pasta of the Twitch short formula for chat, because the Twitch chat works and it's what people come to expect from live streaming services these days. So
Yeah.
So she's saying all that is still going to go through.
she said that's all going to go through. They're still working on the 3-tier system of content, with shorts, video, like long form video, and live streaming all being supported in equal shares. They're trying to get the algorithm functioning with YouTube Live. They're still tweaking it with YouTube Shorts because it's very sporadic on the Shorts front right now. But those are all areas that, according to Susan, they are still going to be improving going into the year. So we'll see. It's been a lot of hearsay, and honestly, it was a lot of hearsay with the last guy. So until we see anything, it's just that. So
Well,
I'm
yeah.
cautiously optimistic that some new blood getting into that sphere of things, like hopefully they can get somebody passionate about this kind of stuff and not just somebody that's corporate chill. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So altogether, they lost Ryan Wyatt, who was the head of gaming. That's the one that we've been talking about. They lost Jamie Bryant, who was the senior director of creator partnerships, and they lost the vice president and global head of product partnership, Heather Rivera. So those are all three of them that they lost.
Interesting that the creator partnership guy was gone, because I'm assuming Ryan and him were the ones that
Probably
were
working
brokering
pretty
all these
closely.
deals. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I mean, maybe
I'm assuming their contracts just went up. Like they probably had a contracts that ended at the same time, and they just decided not to re-up. And
Well, I
this
mean,
is the time
him
for the
going,
announcement.
him taking over. I don't think if it was another position other than CEO over there, I don't think he
I was
would
about
have.
to say.
he would have taken the
'Cause-
gig, you know.
Because we were
That's
talking
a-
about it before, and that's a huge step up from what he was working with. So
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, good to him. I hope that his ventures are successful with all of that.
Well, and that's this. I will say, you know, and you know, obviously, Susan, like you had mentioned in the before the pre-show, we're talking about like NFTs and things like that. Like the sad thing and the what we're going to continue to see in this space, especially NFTs, cryptocurrency, as this continues to evolve and become a bigger business, is that you're going to see people that are heavily in these positions like this, that are, you know, gaming related, that are going to move over and go kind of get gobbled up and taken over in these, you know, fields that are not necessarily gaming, right? And so it's I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not gonna be the first or last that we're gonna see it. Whether it's
No.
you know here or Twitch or Brime or wherever.
prime
But yeah.
time, baby.
So,
I'm cautiously optimistic. I actually think some fresh eyes into the YouTube gaming situation could be good, since
As long as the
Ryan's
the
been
right
with it
eyes.
for five
That's what-
years.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the problem is gonna be if they actually give us fresh eyes, or if they're just gonna fill that executive role with somebody that's already been in the company for.
Yeah,
Right.
you never know, but it's at
Never
least
know,
an
yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, I hope the best.
but
I mean, honestly, I want it to succeed. Give Twitch
as
some
you
actual
said, though,
competition.
Sin, YouTube also was in that video that Susan put out. She went over quite a few things. She went over the dislike button being removed and was still supporting that decision, which,
Of course she is.
yeah, it's a business minded move, and they're still going with the small creator narrative on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure they
that's
are.
a load of shit. We all know
Yeah.
it's a load
But
of shit.
on top of that, they also brought up going into the NFT space with it. They didn't outline how specifically they were going into the NFT space with YouTube, but they did say that they were looking into
They're,
it as another form of revenue generation for creators. So
they're gonna sell the original image of the dislike button. Off
I wouldn't put it past them, bro.
Yo,
I wouldn't put it past them.
on that note of the dislike button, I was just talking to Enigma the other day. If they're going with that story of like the small creator thing, why not get rid of his dislikes over the board completely? But they still have dislikes
That's-
on shorts. It's
Yeah,
still there.
that's-
You can still see
That's
the
what
dislikes.
that's what we were talking about when we originally
I
talked
think
about
that's
the dislike
part of
buttons.
shorts just not being. I think the short system in general is still something that they're working on, and it's probably back end on that functionality.
Yeah, but I think that just proves, you know, that it's not just like the small like creator
Yeah.
or whatever like dilemma. Like I think
That's-
Well,
it's
because
like
shorts don't-
we were
shorts
talking about
also
the
don't
other
generate
day.
money right now. Shorts
No,
aren't
it's like we were talking about the other day. We were saying that, you know, I think that removing the dislike bar or the dislike button on videos is a trial run for the rest of them. So if they remove that and they got a shit ton of, you know, backlash for that, then they'll hold off on removing like the like button at that point. You know, that's my personal that's my personal opinion of what's going to happen. But
Me personally,
I could be
coming from a
wrong.
creator perspective, I would like for the dislike to return, but I'm also okay with it in its current state. If they remove it completely, that's where I'm going to start having issues, because I do still use it to kind of gauge like audience reception, even if it's not publicly seen. I can still, at least on dashboards, see it. So it's still a helpful tool in my realm of things. But
I see nothing wrong with it.
That's
It's
that's the problem. That's the problem that I have with it. Is like, yes, it's a helpful tool for the creator, but it was also a helpful tool for the consumer.
Well, yeah, because like
It was.
that's like saying, hey, we're gonna take down, you know, like you go to a review, right? Like I purchased a new monitor. I went and read the reviews, right? It's like saying, hey, we're gonna take down the negative reviews because we don't want people to see it. We only want to show the positive reviews.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's honest to God, that is false, not false advertisement. There's a term that is used for it, but it's basically like false advertisement, right? Like you are skewing the viewpoint of your product to one side, and you're controlling the market.
Go to one side, the positive side.
Right. Like it's, I don't know. I disagree. I think throw the fucking dislike buttons up there. Let people see it. And,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think their mindset on it was also that every other social media platform doesn't support a dislike button, so they shouldn't
Because I
either.
don't, no other that I know of has like a primary dislike button. They never had one.
Twitter used to have a dislike button.
Twitter used to have one. I don't think
Long time
It
ago.
must have been a
I don't
long
think
time ago.
Facebook ever did.
Facebook
I
never
know
did. Instagram never
I'm
did.
pretty sure Facebook had them too, if I remember correctly. Well, it was a long fucking time ago, but I'm pretty sure
Gotcha.
that
Maybe a long
Facebook
time
and
ago.
Well,
Twitter both had 'em.
regardless, speaking of competitors, Facebook Gaming, there's no dislike button there for any of that kind of stuff. So it's all following into
know.
that same kind of suit.
I wish there was a
I
fucking
guess.
dislike button on Twitch. Fuck.
Man, I would dislike sitting in stream so hard. Oh my
I
god.
would dislike all of your streams. It would just be dislike button forever. Just click, 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 click.
It's
But yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, it's the world that we live in and going in. No one can say anything bad about anybody without someone's feelings getting hurt, and we don't know how to deal with our emotions and our feelings. So we're just gonna sweep it on the rug and make sure that people don't see it, and whatever. I don't know.
Delete your Twitter comments.
Unlike NFTs, which are being shoved in everybody's faces.
Oh, constantly, every fucking day, dude. I can't open my Twitter
Which-
feed, nothing, without seeing a fucking NFT.
The idea of
Squid
Web3
NFT.
technology,
It's pretty legit.
it was great. It was great and expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
The idea of Web3 technology is very interesting to me, but I can't see it going over like how like the people that are like full into NFT technology, crypto and Web3 and all that stuff, they are selling the best case scenario narrative of it. And I just don't see it going that way, because in a best case scenario, this kind of tech is going to like be something that puts the power in everybody's hands to kind of facilitate data and equate value to digital assets. When in reality, and we've already been seeing it with Ubisoft, we're seeing it with YouTube, we're seeing it with that kind of thing. Yes, a individualized standpoint you could, but it's also being adopted by corporate entities, and they're using it just like they would. It's just becoming another monetary, like monetization asset for companies. It's effectively filling the same role in digital space as what like skin purchases or anything like that is. It's just less efficient. It's really fucking weird.
The big issue here was that, and if you go back, I want to say it was like 4 years ago is when non-fungible tokens actually started to make a presence and started to kind of circle, right? This concept and idea of like digital goods, right? Digital product, like, and there's two like ways to go about this. And one, like NFTs in its pure natural form is nothing more than digital products that you own. It's a digital trading card. It's a digital piece of something that you own, and it's yours, and that's it. And you can trade it, you can sell it, you can do what you want, just like your car, your house, your physical item in your home, right? It is a limited value item. It's there, and that's great. And the amazing thing is that with blockchain technology, as it continues to pass, people can continue to make money, and it's an investment. Awesome. The problem is that you, like you said, you have corporate entities, and you also have people that are going in there that have turned this into a
pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, this is limited edition. Well, why is it limited edition? Well, because there's only one of them. Well, not really, because you can pump out as many of these fucking things as you really want. It's not like that product right there, which
it's artificial scarcity, which
right.
is toxic by nature.
And
like artificial scarcity in anything, whether it be a physical good or a digital good, is a scumbag tactic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and you have corporations that can go in there, and honest to God, it's illegal in the form like with stocks and tradings and things like that on the stock market. It's illegal to dump or try to negative or positively impact stocks, right? Whether you're short, and there's ways around it, like short selling, all these other things. But when you have something where they can physically control the value of these items by dumping more or bringing back less, like you're completely fucking with the economy at that point. Again, Bitcoin economy, but you're still fucking with someone's economy. Like to say, hey, oh, you know what? This now was valued at 4.5 million Bitcoin or whatever else. I'm going to dump a shit ton of them on the market and replicate them. And now they're worth complete shit. Like,
Yeah. No, don't mean to break the serious note of this, but do you guys see the clip of Keanu Reeves totally shitting on the artificial scarcity?
Yes, I have. It's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking love him for that.
The interviewer being like, "So what do you think of NFTs?" And he goes,
Yeah.
"They're easily reproducible."
Yeah. I mean, it's, and there was a really great article to read about this that goes, and I mean, Bill, it's funny because I don't know if you read the article or not, but I'm going to use you as an example, right? Your image that you created, right? And it's
Yes.
great. I'm going to make it an NFT, right? I take that image, I grab it, and then if you go, you know what? I'm going to make another NFT. I'm going to take that, I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. I'm going to add glasses to it. I'm going to change the hair a little bit. Now it's another NFT, right? Now I'm going to, you know what?
See what I did on Twitter?
Yeah, like it's that is the concept of NFTs, and
He
that's
gave me mumble rap tattoos.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But the thing about it is that is an NFT in a world, right? If you attach Ethereum to it and back it by the blockchain, that's an NFT, and now it's something that's out there that someone's gonna buy. Like it's just
No.
it is a very scary thing. I believe in cryptocurrency, and I love the concept, but there's a lot of work that we still have to get to, and the problem is that you have companies like Facebook, like Meta, you have these big organizations that are getting involved in this stuff, and it is turning it into a toxic waste dump.
I think that there will be room for proper use of NFTs and proper use of this kind of blockchain chain technology eventually. My big mindset on it was this could be a really good way to kind of facilitate the purchase and transfer of digital like games, like through Steam. If Steam linked up with NFT and blockchain technology, any game that you purchase would have that link to it, and then you could sell that to somebody else. As of right now, the technology is not there and the space isn't there. It's so inefficient that on a blockchain you can't actually get the game. Like you have a receipt of the game purchase, which I suppose you could link up to a server, but it's still like people want to say it's a big decentralized thing, but by having that blockchain linked up to a centralized server, aka the Steam server, it completely defeats the point as of right now.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's no longer a community run thing. It is now a business owns it, and they still run it.
Business owned,
And
yeah.
the reality is we
And
can't even fucking get. There's still arguments about used game sales. Can you imagine fucking being able to sell like games on Steam or wherever else?
Yeah.
Dude? Like, oh my god, dude.
We were thinking
It
about it
is-
at one point.
It's just weird that as of right now, people are shilling it out as like I said, that decentralized data management. Whereas, say the entire Steam marketplace right now was NFT based. Every game that you purchase is an NFT. Say next month Steam shuts down, their servers are blacked out. Your NFTs are now worth nothing
Yeah, they're gone,
because
yeah.
there's nothing linking back to them. Yeah, you have the receipt of that game purchase, but as of right now, it doesn't hold the game itself. Blockchain, I think, can only actually hold like what is it, 1 megabyte per blockchain is the maximum data.
I think as of right now, yes.
Blockchain's got to come a long way before we can even think about having digital assets on that scale be able to be traded through blockchain
Well-
properly in a proper decentralized way.
I mean, it's people thought that Ready Player One, like people looked at that and thought that was crazy, and it's what and how it was a fictional book, which it obviously is fictional, but look, I mean, it's guys. I mean, that's you look at Meta, you look at what they're doing. Like Meta is becoming IOI. Like it is becoming this thing of like, hey, we're like they're selling real estate in the metaverse. You know, like that is becoming a world, and until we get to that point where it's like we are living in a digital world, a digital framework. I don't see crypto and NFTs catching on as well. But again, at the same time, the idea behind crypto is that it's not supposed to be. It's decentralization, and all you're doing is centralizing it just under a different thing.
To be honest though, like Meta is not the first one to do that. Like that's the
No.
biggest thing that you need to remember. Like there's been people and games that have been selling, virtual land for years.
Yeah, but they're the largest.
We've got I mean, I don't know about that. Have they actually
Those games
sold
are never
anything?
gonna.
Yes, they have.
I know
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. Like,
You got
yeah,
like Second Life. You got a couple of other like
there's also
social
some.
MMOs and
It's
shit.
huge in the mobile game market right now. Like
Yeah, yeah,
Sheep Game or whatever it is, Wolf Game, I think is what it's called. The digital assets, all of that is blockchain
yeah.
based.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you have, what's that Blankums, or what's that name of that game that they did on
The
E3?
graffiti one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember the
shit.
name of it, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
But that's all
Did
like,
that do NFT stuff too?
yeah, that's the whole
Yeah,
game is
they're
based on
that's the
NFTs.
entire
I didn't.
game was based
Oh,
off
I
of
never knew that was
NFTs. Yeah.
based off NFTs. I've
Yeah.
just seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all of those
Not
graffitis
surprising.
are like
Yeah.
NFTs in and of themselves.
Yeah, and now there's this like new crypto land that everyone's talking about too, which is the same deal pretty much of buying land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, again, Meta has absolutely Walmart. Who is the other? It's
Yeah.
Walmart, IKEA,
I think Amazon's wanting to push into it too.
and
I thought I saw something on
I
them.
doubt it.
there's two other like major major corporations that have bought real estate inside the quote unquote metaverse. It's-
Microsoft has, if I remember correctly, they
Well,
were talking about it.
Microsoft is not. They believe in the metaverse, but they believe in a free metaverse. They don't. It's not
Yeah.
a paid thing. Like if you really look at
I
metaverse.
thought I saw something recently that they said that they had bought something of the metaverse, or they were doing something with the metaverse.
I know that they're talking to Meta, but I don't know about as far as like actually purchasing. I mean,
That
maybe they
might have
have.
been
I don't know, but I know that Phil has been out there abundantly clear about like we do not agree with Meta's like direction for the metaverse, and it should be free for all. It's the internet. It should not be a
Yeah.
paid fucking thing. And it's crazy, but again, the world of like you put on a fucking pair of glasses and your real estate in front of you is paid for, and the only way to get that off is to subscribe is the world that Meta wants to move into. Like, just think about that.
course.
Like they are blocking your
Yeah.
eyeballs. So
Good old Zuckerberg wants you to believe that the barbecue sauce goes in the bookcase, not in the
in
fridge.
the butthole. Yep, got it. Right, that's where you keep your barbecue sauce, right? In your butthole? No.
That's
Okay.
where he keeps it. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, I do what Zuckerberg does. So, yeah. Anything else on the YouTube side, Bill? We need to cover.
That was pretty well. Oh, yes, actually, in kind of a similar fashion to Twitch with its DMCA issues, in that message that Susan put out, they also discussed how they are responding to creators that violate content guidelines and stuff like that, and they are improving upon that system. Actually improving, they're actually giving specific timestamps, specific reasonings. Some of the people that have had like content flagged in the past, it'll actually give the specific phrase from the closed captioning system, so that they know where whatever is happening is happening. So they're being more transparent with their striking systems, so that creators are better able to either appeal if they feel like it's wrongly done, or alter it and then repost for future. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we are now moving on to what we've been playing, and I'm excited to talk about this, guys. I'm actually very excited. Do you guys mind if I go first? Can I go first?
You're pumped, man. Get it.
I want to talk about this. So, if you have been in my channel and seen recently for the last like 9 to 10 days, I have been playing God of War on PC. And I have played every God of War that has come out on consoles. Well, I was the only place on Sony platforms, but minus like I think that there was one or two that was kind of like an offshoot, like the actual like God of War 1, God of War 2, God of War 3, and then
there's a few PSP ones like Ghost of Sparta.
Yeah, I didn't play those.
I heard Ghost of Sparta was really good though.
It was actually really good. I think the only God of War that's like negatively received was that one with the Sisters of Fate, and I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
Or not the Sisters of Fate, but the Furies.
So I just want to go out there and say this is hands down my favorite of all time single player experiences that I've ever played. Like hands
You're
down.
playing it the boring way too. So
Not-
imagine if.
Well, so okay, against all recommendations from everybody, shocker, right? Like I'm gonna ask for recommendations, and I'm just gonna ignore the shit out of every single one of them. But Bill told me not to fucking do it. Tony told me not to fucking do it. The whole internet told me not to fucking do it, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I have to play on the hardest difficulty. So I play on Give Me God of War. Motherfucker, does this game start off just dick-kickingly difficult. I mean, it is fucking
I actually
tough.
watching the footage right now. If you're watching live, this point that he's at right now was a place where I got hard stuck whenever I was trying to play through it, like doing the hardest mode for a decent amount of time. This fight here is just the amount of mobs that they throw at you. It's not a fun fight.
No, it's really brutal in a lot of ways, and I will say that it forces you not necessarily to have to play in a certain way. So like if and again we already said this last podcast was play on Give Me a Challenge. Like the one step back is where kind of everyone kind of says like this is a good spot to play in. It's difficult, not too difficult. But it's a challenge and you'll enjoy it. In this mode, if you're going to play in this, Give Me God of War in the hardest difficulty, it almost kind of forces you down a path to say, hey, you have to play with throwing. Like, because at least in the early game, I am now in the latter half, like the back portion of the game, and I've gotten, upgrades and I've leveled up. So I'm able to kind of get in there and actually like melee and do shit, the way I kind of want to. But I went through a good portion, almost half of this game, doing nothing but throwing. And is
that fun? I'm sorry, it doesn't seem that enjoyable to me. It seems kind of painful.
No.
Depends on if you want to live out your Thor fantasies,
It's a means to an end because I had to do the exact same thing, and I did not get myself to the point where I was actually comfortable getting into melee range with most things.
Because the enemies seem pretty spongy in this, and is it the difficulty that makes it the enemies spongier?
Yes. So the way that they do difficult in this game is just by artificially pumping up the amount of damage that these enemies can take. I don't know if they throw more enemies at you or less, than kind of
the mobbing is the same. It's
the same.
just
Okay, so it's just
they take more health from you. You take less, like you do less damage. To
them. So it's yes, that it's just basically, and again, like Bill said, it's a means to an end. If it wasn't for the fact that the rest of the game, the storytelling, and still the combat, like even though like it is throwing an axe, calling it back, throwing an axe, calling it back. Like, it's still satisfying, like in a way, like it just feels good. Like the weight of the shit that you do just feels good. If it wasn't for all that, then I absolutely would just be like, fuck this, man. Like this is just not good. But like everything,
you know for a fact that in God of War Ragnarok or whatever they're calling the next one, I think that's what they're calling it, right?
It's what
it's Ragnarok. Yeah.
They're gonna give you Mjolnir to toss,
and that'll be dope.
Maybe. I mean, essentially, this is what you have Mjolnir. Like, it's not like it's anything. Like, you throw an axe and it fucking
the Leviathan axe.
Yeah, and it's dope. And it's just, I mean, I understand now, like, because I never played it. This is my first time in playing this game. And I will say definitively, this is the way to play it, is on PC. Hands, like, in my opinion, graphically, the game is fucking gorgeous. It runs beautifully.
AB,
what's up?
A mouse and keyboard.
And I am playing on mouse and keyboard. A lot of people told me I was fucking crazy. I will tell you, starting off,
mouse and keyboard.
It's very difficult.
He's also the guy that plays Dark Souls mouse and keyboard.
I do play Dark Souls mouse and keyboard.
If I had Dark Souls, I would probably do the same. Not gonna lie.
Mouse and keyboard is the superior.
I mean, it is definitely, look, like in something like this, it is also like, I'm not kidding you when I'm sitting here going like my fingers are like this. Like I'm over here going like doing all of this, using every single finger. Sometimes I gotta use my foot like to pull shit off because I'm having to hit
the Elgato foot pedal.
So yeah, right. Yeah. We're not sponsored, by the way. # not sponsored.
No, yeah, not sponsored.
But I'm glad I chose this clip because I died 1,000 times, so I'm not spoiling anything. So we're just seeing the same
This
fight.
fight is the fucking worst, dude. Like
That in
this fight
that dark
about
elf
made-
fight in
this,
Elfheim.
This was the first moment I almost quit the game.
Yeah,
Whenever I was playing through it, or went back and dropped the difficulty down.
The Elfheim one where you have to fight that dude that flies. That
And
one,
then, yeah,
that
boss was
fucking miserable.
Yeah,
And
I watched you die on that one. Like I think you were on that pretty much the entire night, more or less.
it was rough, man. I mean,
That's why it's taking him so long to get back to Battlefield.
It's rough. I mean,
much,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah. I mean, it's but I'm also too like I will say if you're gonna play on that difficulty, it is like I have gone and spent an enormous amount of time pretty much doing almost everything I possibly can. Every side mission I get to, if there's something for me to go do, I can do it. But
Well, you're pretty much
not-
min-maxing. You
kind
got
of
it.
to a way. I mean, yes and no. Like I probably could have, but I can't imagine going and doing the stuff I'm doing now because like enemies are 4 and 3 and I'm level 7. So like if I were to have
You're
to
still
figure,
getting your ass kicked.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like especially when you get to one of like these ice guys that you see on screen, that you have to go up against. If they get enough frost on you, there's no stopping it. Like you can't, like they will just literally just whoom, like hit, and there's you can't block, you can't do shit because it slows you down, and so you can't properly block.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's fucking hard, but
I also want to trace back to your comment about this being the definitive way. This is one of the few console to PC ports that I will actually say the PC port is on par or possibly better than what the console version is.
Yeah, people were testing this and running this with even without GPUs. Like that's how good this port is.
It is a ridiculously good port. The only
Yeah.
thing comparable would be the PS5 upgrade, and even then, I think there is a good enough reason to run this on PC if you have a PC.
Is
for it,
Bluepoint that
so-
ported this?
No, I don't know.
no, it's just Santa Monica Studios did this one. That was because this is
Did they hand port it?
yeah, they handed it, which is probably why it's done so well. I mean, it's,
Yeah, because I was gonna say if it was Bluepoint, I wouldn't expect that quality from this.
I mean, it is again from every. I mean, story like one of the best stories single player out there. And this came out around. Didn't this come out in the same around time that Last of Us 2 did, or was this way before? This is way before, right? Or
This is
was it-
before Last
Yeah,
of Us.
this is
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the this is one of the like PS4 like launching.
Like if you want
games.
to talk about a game of a generation, a game of to define a system, Last of Us 2 is not it. This is it. Like this game, because again, God of War was so set in a certain style, and when you come and play this, like it's just a complete refreshing take on the game. And there's upgrade systems, there's abilities, there's weapon swapping, there's just it's just. And again,
So my question is, right? I haven't played a God of War since like PlayStation 2.
yeah,
Will I need to get like a refresher course, or do they do a decent job with like refreshing you on what's happened? Because like I have no clue what happened during the last God of Wars, whatever's been going on the PlayStation and the Sony.
so you don't
over the
have to have played the old ones to understand kind of the stuff here. There are callbacks to the older ones, obviously, and without ruining any of the story, there.
I would argue you do at least need to play the trilogy.
I mean, I think they've done a good job. I mean, again, I'm not done with it, so I can't definitively say. But I mean, I have not played that trilogy in years, and I mean,
Yeah, you've played it.
So
you
the
have played.
callbacks are still like you can still
I
remember.
think at least
Like
for one or two major plot points that we're not going to get into, obviously.
Right.
I think at least having a TLDR video on
Yeah.
those
That's
played
true.
for you, and this game
It's
does
like
not give that.
legitimately, I'm being serious. Like the last one that I played was probably like the first fucking God of War.
the thing
Like,
the thing that is there is that like to understand some of the the deeper relationships and why the meaning, other than the fact of like Kratos is not the father figure that you should like role model yourself after early on.
you're
There's
talking about Kratos is how I'm gonna role model.
There
me.
is- then
Like,
you
he's
are
the
in a
bad
world
role
of
model for
shit.
me, bro. Come on, bro.
But there are some
Oh, his
things.
son turned out fine. Right?
There's interactions between him and Arteus that
boy.
If you understand and have played the other games, then you will have a better understanding of like the turmoil
only-
and like the stuff that's yours. Because, and real quick before I turn it over to you, like there are people in my chat that have been like, I can't stand him. I can't stand Artreus. He's a snot nosed little brat. And I get
he's a
it,
kid.
but like if you have not played the other ones, and I feel like those are people that have maybe not really played or have gone back to understand like Kratos and the history that's there and like where the dynamic probably comes from, then yeah, you're automatically going to be like, this is a tag along kid who's a piece of shit and a waste of my time.
Also,
And he's a
got to remember,
brat.
he's a kid. Like
Right.
he's not going to be an intelligent. I mean, he's intelligent. He's smarter than fucking Kratos, from everything I can
Yeah,
see.
it's
But
and yeah, they do a phenomenal, like this game just does a phenomenal job all around. Character development, combat system, pacing, freedom, leveling up, graphics. I mean, there's not one thing in this game that I have like gone back and been like, I really wish they would fucking just take that out.
I'm glad
the only thing that I have learned about fatherhood from Kratos is that whenever I have a child, they will be reading everything for me. I'll just be walking and I'll see a sign. I'll go, boy, read.
Yeah,
Kratos can't read. He can't read Norse.
Actually, I do. I think about
It's not his fault.
There is one thing that I will say that is actually frustrating to me, and it's a mechanic of the game when you get resurrection stones. So there's a thing where you get a stone that basically, if you die, you can use it once, and the boy can use the stone to bring you back to life. But if you don't want to use it, like I have been in a fight where I'm like, I don't want to use this yet. I have to wait this entire like, and it's not long, but it's like long enough to be annoying to be like the slow down animation of me dying and the boy going, no, don't leave me alone. And then it's like, do you want to push the button? No, you sure you don't? You might want to do it.
Do you want me to stab the EpiPen in
and it's
you?
like, God damn it, man. Like, let me just hit enter or escape or something to just not have to go through this every single time I die, especially when I'm dying a lot because your game is fucking tough. Like
one thing that's being said in chat that I can attest to and that I do agree with is that like the MVP of this entire fucking game is Ymir or Mimir.
Mimir?
The fucking the storyteller that tells you all the ancient tales and shit. Like those are spot.
I have sat on that boat and listened to him tell his stories for like 30 minutes, just listening to the stories he's gonna talk.
They did a really good job with transversing the Norse tales to Western.
Yeah.
Very well. Very well.
Good.
So highly
glad that the PC community is able to play this game finally.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that Sony's opening up their
excited.
IPs.
Dude, I highly recommend.
I've got it. I've bought it. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing it as soon as I can. I just need to get done with Final Fantasy 14's expansion.
Enigma, as much as Senen's enjoying this game, you
I'll love it, dude.
Yeah,
this is what you wanted.
This is what you wanted from Valhalla.
Yeah, I've watched several people play through the game, which I'm kind of sad that I did because I kind of have an idea of what's been going on in the actual story. I haven't spoiled the ending for myself. I will give it that. When Played was playing it and when a couple of other people have been playing it, I've predominantly been like, okay, I want to play this at some point. So well, I haven't spoiled the ending.
The good thing about it too, though, is like even if you've watched a little bits and pieces of it, and like even if you've watched like a decent chunk, there's so much stuff in the game.
That's the thing is like I have watched a decent chunk of it, but I still feel like every time I watch, like I've watched Plague play it, and now I've watched you play it, and every time I watch you guys do the same thing, I'm still amazed at what they've done with the game. Yeah. Right? I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's.
I wanna bring up a topic real quick. Sure. It's in relation to this game and its sequel coming out, and it's a little off topic, but I've been seeing it a lot in on Twitter and in YouTube comments and stuff like that. What do you guys feel about asset reuse within like games?
If it's done properly and I think done well, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. To
be more specific, people are a very small group of people from what I'm seeing, but a group of people are complaining that God of War Ragnarok isn't trying hard enough because they keep using this clip. It's the same animation for Kratos getting in and out of a boat.
Mm.
Pretty
I
petty
think
though.
that's
That's not
nitpicky.
nothing like
Yeah,
super important, I don't think.
I think that's
And
an
then for like
increasingly
Horizon Zero
nitpicky.
Dawn to
To,
Horizon Forbidden West, whenever you climb one of like the tower points to like open up the map, the rappelling animation is like
Yeah.
frame for frame the same.
To be completely honest, my opinion on like asset reuse is like, as long as the story itself is a completely different story, I don't mind if they use some very minute, shortcuts and go through some
Okay.
of those avenues.
Let me
I don't really think that going from one game to the next, it should have the same move set though. I think that they need to vary up like move sets. They need to vary up like animations on attacks and everything like that a little bit. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
there's some
I think that is
move sets that
lazy.
are more important than others. Stuff like
There
leaping,
is, yeah.
climbing, getting into a boat. I don't think that's as important as
It's
like
not as
combat
important.
and
Yeah, exactly.
uniqueness of like what weapons you're using. I
Yep.
think it really is when it's more important when people use assets that are like environmental or like areas and places. I think I want to see more diverse areas. I don't want assets to be used in that sense. But if it's like
Yeah.
the character and like some of the move sets, I can care a little bit less about.
I mean, I don't want to
Okay.
go through Ragnarok like being like, oh, I remember this ability and this is the ability. I mean, yes, through God of
Exactly.
War, like there are certain things where you're like, yo, and again, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like when you do a certain thing, you're like, fuck yeah, man, I remember doing this from the fucking first one. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
cool, but like it's also been how many years since we had a God of War? So if I go into Ragnarok and I'm like doing the same move sets over and doing the same axe throw, same ability, well then yeah, then it's gonna be like, all right, like
That would
this
be
is
my only issue.
another layer to the pie. So with sequels, I feel like it's a little bit more understandable to have some minorly reused assets and stuff like that. And thinking back to like PS2 era and stuff, a lot of games back then, like the sequels were basically copy and pasted with
Yeah.
like differing mechanics. I did a video recently and I used Ratchet and Clank as an example, where the original Ratchet and Clank trilogy was basically the same game with just different guns and different enemies. And I guess that gun and enemy variation was the variation, but every animation from those games was exactly the same outside of like the gun effects.
Yeah, see, I don't like if I had to go and fight against Draugr again and they move the exact same way that they're doing here, and I don't care. Like I don't know, it's not
Okay,
as
so
yeah.
with Elden Ring
Mhm.
coming out, it's a completely new IP, and a lot of people have been very hot to point out how many assets are being reused from Elden Ring to like Dark Souls 3 and stuff like that. Do you feel like with an IP change like that, there should be more expected? I know the Souls community doesn't really care because they'll
I
take
mean, it's
big
I
Souls
think
all
so.
day.
so
Because you got to remember, it's an entirely new IP. It's an entirely new franchise. You don't want that being muddied and sullied by your previous franchise. 'Cause exactly what they're talking about, right? Is like, I feel like I'm doing the same shit that I was doing in this game. Why am I even fucking bothering? I'll just go and play that game. I've already been playing.
um
I think with the like the sequel and everything, I think like it's okay to have like the same move sets and stuff, but I think it needs to be added upon. Like I'll reference Resident Evil 7 to 8. You know how Ethan literally went through military training, and from 7 to 8 he obviously like shows that, the animations and all of that are like different, and they're obviously like he had military training and such. So I think in this, like in the sense, it's okay for him to have like the same move sets and stuff, but I think they need to add more onto it, pretty much. Like give
Okay.
him new abilities and new things to do. I don't
Yeah.
know.
At least some.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also too, I guess like my thing is it like what makes this good and I am worried about Ragnarok is because the amount of time, like this is like again, this was completely different than what we were used to, right? So
Yeah.
what
They
made
went
what
down a completely different route, so it was a complete reshape of what they were already doing.
right, like we have new setting, new
So
things like that. So I mean, I think putting like with Elden Ring, I understand to a certain point, but at the same time, like that's like trying to tell From Software, hey, and actually, look, here's a great example. We did it with like Sekiro, right? Sekiro was a complete change up, a complete divergence from what the Souls games were, and it wasn't as well received. You know what I mean? Like as necessarily some Souls or Bloodborne or things. So
What are you talking about? It won Game of the Year.
I know that, but I'm saying, but if you talk to a lot of people in the Souls community, like at least people I have talked to in the Souls community, they look at Sekiro as like, yeah, I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but it's.
I feel like the replayability was the biggest issue with Sekiro specifically. I feel like a lot of people really enjoyed the game, but they have no reason to play it like beyond
Right.
when it came out.
So I don't know. I mean, if it can be done right, it can be done well. If we're talking about environmental uses, which I don't think we are, I think that's like because that's what I thought you were going to go
I'm
with.
talking more enemy and character animations and stuff. Like because environmental assets are going to be reused. Hell, they were reusing. This is back to Resident Evil. They were reusing Resident Evil 7 assets in the Resident Evil 4 remake, Resident Evil 5 remake, and Resident Evil 8. Like it's that's gonna happen,
right?
That's bound to happen.
That's where I almost get a little bit more upset if it's like totally blatant.
Yeah.
Like, but
yep. I don't know.
As long as we don't see like exact copies of the same.
I think people in
such,
Elden Ring are being petty. To be honest, if that's what they're that upset about, I think it's to me it's a petty thing. Like
yeah,
I can understand
if they're too hyper focused on the similarities and not seeing because they're. From what I've seen, I haven't gotten my hands on the game because network test gods hate me, but there seems to be enough variation on weapon move sets and spell effects and stuff like that to
right. Is this no? Is Elden Ring in the world? Is it still? Have they come out and said that this is in the world of Dark Souls? Like it's still in the same?
No, it's
in its own.
It's on its own. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere like it ties in somewhere. It's not like a spiritual successor like what Demon Souls to Dark Souls was, but I
thought that was what had been taking them so long was they were completely remaking an entire world with George R. R. Martin or whatever.
Yeah, they are remaking an entire world, but there's always that like slight inkling, and this could just be wishful thinking.
There's probably going to be like Easter eggs and callbacks and everything. For sure.
Because
at the end of Dark Souls 3 and the last DLC, the girl like you use the Dark Soul to make a painting, and the paintings in the Souls world are like completely new worlds themselves. So there's a theory craft out there that Elden Ring is within that painting.
Well, but that's my thing is they could do kind of what they did with this with God of War, which was basically say like, hey, like again, if you step into this game never playing the old ones, like you don't understand it, but like understand certain callbacks, but like, hey, same main character, different complete ethos, different pantheon. Like this isn't like, okay, are we just starting fresh or like what's going on? And they do a good job of like tying all that stuff back because it's still that same world. Like I mean, Elden Ring, it could be one of those things like that could be an easy fix, being like, quit bitching, it's in the same world. This is why the movesets are the same in certain elements, and I think that would be fine. I don't know, I don't have an issue with it, but yeah. So I know I went a little bit off topic.
Thanks for the side tangent, guys.
No, absolutely. But that's a great segue into what Bill's been playing. But by the way, go buy this full price, please. Like it's worth every fucking penny you can spend. This game is amazing. Absolutely.
It's on sale right now.
Is it really on sale?
I think so.
That's crazy. It doesn't deserve to be on sale. It should be full price. This game's fucking crazy. It's crazy good.
It's also been out for.
No, it's not full price.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, yes, it deserves to be the full price, but it's also a fucking like 5-year-old game.
Yeah, having that kind of a mindset is basically forgiving Nintendo for never dropping.
I'm saying full price is whatever it's priced at when it released it. I'm not saying $60. I'm saying whatever released, like whatever.
Okay, no, it's not on sale. It's $50 though, so it
worth every penny.
It's pretty much there. Yeah,
like worth every penny.
I think $50 is definitely. It's
worth it.
Yeah, worth every penny. All right, so Bill, talk to us about Bloodborne PC challenge dungeons. Like, why are you playing PC and I'm seeing a Bloodborne character? This doesn't make sense.
So last podcast, you brought up a footage of a guy playing a Bloodborne character in Dark Souls 3, and I was like, I need to find that, so I did. And this is the mod itself. It's called the Hollow Overhaul Mod. And what it does is it's basically melds Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne together. It actually has trick weapons where you're effectively able to do everything that you could in Bloodborne. It's got pistol parries, it's got trick weapons, it's got the Hunter's Dash moveset, and it also mixes together the stuff that you love with Dark Souls 3, like spell effects. You can use regular Dark Souls 3 weapons in like the Bloodborne like movement system with the dashing and blood vials and all that. So it's just a really well done mod.
Are you using Ludwig's blade right now?
Yeah.
I love that
Yep.
thing, dude.
It's extremely good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, it takes all the best pieces of Bloodborne. They're still updating it, and they have like reworked some of the bosses. They've added some new bosses, and they are wanting this to be a complete overhaul experience. It's still in the semi-early stages. They've only got a few select weapons, like they have the beast cleaver. They have the beast hunter scythe, Ludwig's holy blade. They do have the Ligarius wheel, but it doesn't have its trick weapon moveset. It's labeled as a great shield, so I haven't used it.
That's
but
weird.
they're slowly integrating like more and more Bloodborne weapons into it. I don't know how hard it is to actually like get that data over to PC with like hacked PS4s or
I mean,
whatnot. But
the amazing thing about this, every single time that you that we bring this stuff up and I see you playing this stuff, like it just blows my mind in a way that like how like this is proof that the modding community can just take a game and just continue its life cycle.
Going for years and years and years.
Like it's
they can do anything. Like
I mean, it's insane because you look at this and I'd be like, oh, this is just a game that From Software did. It's like, no, this is a game that modders like have taken and hacked together.
Yeah, for real. It's just neat. I've been, while I'm waiting for Elden Ring to come out, I've been playing a lot of mods, and this isn't the most fleshed out mod as of right now. It's the most polished Bloodborne integration mod. I think this is the only mod out right now that has proper trick weapons and stuff like that integrated into it. That's also Force Lightning, by the way, like Star Wars Force Lightning, like Darth Sidious style.
Something dark side.
But it's neat, man. It's really cool as to what modders can do. And I had a conversation with a data miner on one of my videos because I had a video that was pretty critical over data mining and stuff before a game's release. And I had a conversation with a data miner on that video, and a lot of them are doing this for a few different reasons. Very few of the actual data miners themselves are doing any kind of malicious thing with what they're data mining. If the game's not out yet, they're not the ones that are leaking the content for it. It's people that are sponging that information and then pushing it out there.
That's been the thing with data miners for forever. Is most actual data miners are not doing it with nefarious means in mind. They're doing it because they feel that the community needs to know this information. It's the people that are wanting to do it maliciously and wanting to, spoil things for the community and do malicious acts with the community that are the bad apples, and then they just give those bad names. Yeah.
But
and then they give modders and they give those kinds of people bad names, and it's
that's
really
exactly
sad.
what that guy said. He was like, anytime something like this happens, like Elden Ring, the PS5 console has been cracked and people were able to pull off the network test data from that, and a whole bunch of data mine material got leaked from that. And he was like, it wasn't data miners that leaked that most likely, but data miners are the ones that are getting blamed for it. So it's really unfortunate, and it kind of opened my eyes because, like I said, I was pretty critical up until that point of that because I assumed,
I was at one point as well for a long time. I was really critical of data miners, and then the same kind of thing happened with me where I was reading up on like data miners that went in and pulled the information from like the World of Warcraft patch notes and and the World of Warcraft files and everything like that, and they are not the ones that are spreading it. It's these fucking websites that are spreading it. They don't want that to be spread unless you were looking for it, you know?
Right. And it is cool, like I see the value now in like pre-game release data mining, like if a network
Yeah.
test comes out or something, and you are able to pull data from that. The modding community can use those assets, and like the neat thing is being able to see like from like pre-release to full release what changed, what didn't. Some stuff could have been cut from the full release that is in the pre-release, and they can use that data moving forward for some project or just to have it archived for preservation of data. It's cool. It is cool, and I am kind of upset that I was so critical on it. So
Dude, watching you play this one part brings me back so many memories of playing this level, and I fucking hated that stupid ball.
all the skelly ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hated that fucking thing. Well, cool, man. Well, I'm excited to continue to see.
Hollow Overhaul
Awesome.
Mod. If you ever wanted Bloodborne on PC, this is the closest thing we have to it right now until Sony decides that they want to release the Bloodborne remake or remaster, and then
Can't wait for that PS1 version.
or the demake. Yeah.
The demake is gonna be nice.
Fucking demake. That's great. That's awesome. Well, Scruff and Enigma, I know you guys have been playing some stuff. Scruff, you played Cursed Gods, which I actually had played a while ago.
Man, Curse of the Dead Gods,
Yeah.
great game. I
Yeah.
really slept on it for a while.
Yep. It's very Hades vibe, in a way.
Yeah.
So
It's. I mean, I was getting through the levels pretty easily, but it's still tough. Like,
it's still a
remember that
roguelike.
game.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
a
it's still a
roguelike.
roguelike.
You're the one that
That's
turned me
that
on to
Aztec
it.
one, right? Yeah.
What's that?
That's
Well-
the Aztec one. It was like an Aztec god
It's
or
a
whatever.
temple. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
it's kind of
temple.
Aztec. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what lore or
For some reason, you said Curse of the Mad God, and for some reason, I thought you meant that top down, like 2-bit or like 8-bit
yeah,
Mad God MMO or whatever it was.
realm. Yeah.
Yeah, Realm of the Mad God.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot of fun. I am enjoying it a lot. So pretty much all I've
It was a good time.
been playing that, and still throwing in Battlefield, and tried PUBG, and that was PUBG.
How
I don't
is
know.
PUBG in 2022?
You know, I will have to say though, I'm very shocked at how smooth that game runs.
Well,
And I
holy
think
fuck! It's
it's-
been out for how long?
I know. I
think
mean, but still, the thing is, like, I think it's totally different than playing it from watching it. Watching it, even watching it after I played it, I'm like, this game looks clunky. Like, it does not look like it runs well. It looks like there's like input lag. It just didn't look appealing to me. And playing it, it's a totally different vibe. I think it actually.
I wish
very
you would have
deceiving.
been. I wish you could have played it back in its prime when window jumping and like there was some like advanced movement text that you could get away with.
Yeah,
That
now
made the
there's
game a
like
little
all
bit
that
more
inertia
fast-paced.
and like yeah. That was one thing
My
that is
favorite,
getting me is the inertia.
My favorite conversation that we had was when I think we were talking about the difference between this, that game and Fortnite, and you were like, "Oh, I feel like this game's a lot more grounded." And I said, "You're
He's running around in a
literally playing."
dinosaur fucking suit.
Yeah, I was like, "You're literally playing in a fucking dinosaur suit."
Oh no. Oh well, yeah. I mean, but it is. Okay, cosmetics have nothing to do with how the game feels and how grounded the game is. What do you mean?
I'm just you said it with the straightest way. I really think this game is grounded. It's really grounded compared to that game. I'm like, you're literally shooting people with a fucking dinosaur costume.
It's ironic. That funny, haha, laugh, but it is. I mean, there is an element of strategic, like, stuff you have to do in the game, and I enjoy that about it more than other BRs. That's why I downloaded Super People and I haven't touched it. I don't know if I want to. Like, I'm not into that sort of thing really right now.
And he played 12 seconds of Leap, right? That was
No, I mean, I fucking started my stream and was about to get on the Leap playtest and got on and did the training, did like all that, and then I'm like, all right, let's find a server. Click, cancel. Click, cancel. I'm like, huh, that's weird. I am searching for their Twitter. They don't have an official Twitter. It was really hard for me to find. I find it, and they're like, hey guys, yeah, thank you everyone for joining our Leap playtest. It is over now, but you guys are great. I'm like, I missed it. It said 1 hour. I missed it by an hour, dude.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened to me with that fucking dragon game. Literally logged in right as the fucking thing ended.
Who closes a closed beta on a Friday night? Like that's
Right?
when you like give me the weekend to play. Like I was shocked.
Yeah.
Enigma,
crazy.
you've been playing Hero Siege, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, I've been. We played it a while ago. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it's like the discount Diablo. It's like an 8-bit Diablo. We played
That's
it a
pretty
while
dope.
ago.
I
It's
think
it's
so.
it's pretty
I don't
fun.
know.
It is actually really enjoyable. Buddy mine Solid got me into it. It's on sale. I will tell you that if you're
So a lot,
looking for
man.
a fun, yeah, if you're looking for a fun game, it's on sale right now for 69 cents, baby.
I was gonna say I think I picked that game up for like 69 cents
Yeah,
before, like a
69 cents.
long ass time ago.
The only downside that I do have with this game is that because it's so cheap on a regular basis, they monetize everything. So all of their classes you have to pay for. All of the skins you have to pay for. There's no way of gaining. I mean, there is ways of gaining them in game. Like you get these things called angelic chests and demonic chests, which you can open that have
Those cost
cosmetics
keys
and
though.
stuff. They do cost keys, but you can get keys in game. It's just extremely difficult to get keys in game.
Makes
You have to
sense.
you have,
of
you have
that.
to you have to get them off of fallen angels, and fallen angels have a very 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 minimal spawn rate. So
I didn't know
it's
that.
yeah, it's fun. It's definitely he nickels and dimes you, but for a game that you can literally right now pick up for 69 cents, it is what it is. I think I paid $17 and unlocked all of
Classes are
all
fun
of the
too.
heroes right now. Yeah, and
You pay
all their
a
classes
decent
are really,
amount
really good.
of starter
You do.
classes.
You do really. I think he gets 8 starter classes right off the bat, and then I think there's like another 8-ish. I think that you can unlock, and they're having another one in the next season. So we're on season 14 right now. Season 15 is going to be releasing probably within the next couple months, and they're releasing a new class called the Jotun. So it's going to be
Jotun.
a
You should
yep.
know this.
It's going to be a Norse theme. They already have a Viking, so it's Viking's pretty OP.
But
So
do they have a necro?
they do have a necromancer, and it is actually a decent necromancer. It's not a shitty fucking summon 2 pets and you're done. So
Cool.
I don't know. I enjoy it. I also did have another game that I forgot that I had been playing. I don't know if we have time for that or not, but
Yeah, we're running a little bit short on time.
that's fine.
Well, we can hold it
I'll
off.
I'll
till
save
the
it for next week.
Yep,
So
next show. So
yeah, Hero Siege, $69 on sale.
$69.
69 cents. 69 cents.
69
Pick it up. Like seriously, you have no reason not to. It is a very fun game. A very well done, well made Diablo clone. That's about all I can say. And you can put in hours into the game.
you
Like,
can get
went back
69
to it,
seconds
had 8
worth of
hours in
time
it.
out of it. I mean, that's what 69 cents
Yeah,
would be.
no, 100%. I went back to it. I'd had 8 hours in it. I have put almost 40 on it just in the past week. So
Wow. Well, cool. So that's what we've been playing. We're gonna work our way backwards through news and then we'll talk about the final thing, which is gonna take up a majority of our time. So we talked about Dark Souls a little bit. Bill, have you seen this Dark Souls 3?
Oh yeah,
The PvP exploits.
All over that on Twitter.
I've covered it already, and it's fucking wild, dude. So hackers have actually saved Elden Ring, most likely, from a horrible fate. If you aren't familiar with what's going on, there has become known to now Bandai Namco and From Software of a exploit in their PvP coding, specifically with invasions, where people can effectively use that as like a tunnel to
the gateway into your
access.
network.
Yeah, get into your network and actually like remote control your
You know,
PC.
you know the funny thing about that is that with a lot of these older games, that's actually the case. Like a lot of those older games,
I know
I know,
Minecraft had an issue with it
yeah,
recently. I know
yeah.
that New Worlds had an issue with it.
New World had an issue with it, but like a lot of the stuff from like the 80s where they weren't necessarily
There's probably no
thinking about
firewalls or
security.
anything up for that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, you had firewalls, but they weren't initially like developing for security in mind when it came to
Yeah.
multiplayer. Because back then, network security really wasn't a thing. Like, I mean, it was, but it wasn't at the same time, right? Like they
Yeah.
just figured as long as you were on the local network, you were fine. But
So
if that local network was connected to the internet,
It's
so yeah, it's specifically it's an RCE exploit, a remote
Yeah.
control executable exploit, and it basically makes it so if you get invaded by somebody, they could invade you in real life. It's funny, but
if you
it's
die
not.
in game, you die in real life.
Well,
So
one of the
this-
clips I saw was like someone like he was a streamer and his entire computer got jacked, and then like it was like the anonymous dude speaking to
Yeah.
him and his audience.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
man.
so that's so this exploit, I guess, got discovered last month, and the hacker that discovered it tried to contact Bandai Namco and Elden Ring, and they didn't get any response back. They didn't get it taken seriously because obviously the hacker doesn't want to make the hack public at risk of people using it for malicious intent. So what he did instead was he used some of the top Souls streamers as a benign test group
Wow.
to show how it works to get people to pay attention to it. So he kept he recorded everything that he was doing on his end and recorded the streamers' reactions to the benign test and
It's crazy, man.
sent that to Bandai Namco and From
Gotta
Software.
see
And
that.
at this point, now the community is like, there's some fucked up shit going on.
Maybe
So
something's happening.
Yeah.
so Twitter went crazy with it. They were like, "Yeah, you guys don't do PvP in Dark Souls 3 right now." And this hacker reached out to a bunch of like the top people within the community to spread the word that this was a benign test. There was no actual harm done. He just needed to make an example.
It's crazy, man.
Point made.
The worst
So-
part about it is like if he had released that information, he could have been in a shit ton of trouble.
He could have been in a shit ton of trouble, absolutely. But luckily, he
like
is
behind bars. Trouble.
good guy hacker, man.
Yeah.
And I've also heard rumors that he got in contact with the streamers beforehand and let them know that they were
Yeah,
going to be
I'm
doing
sure.
this, so that they could, for one, know that they weren't actually going to have anything done to their computer, and for two, to play it up or whatever they needed to do. But
This is kind of like an eye-opening thing. I would hope for like Namco and the other companies to be like, if somebody contacts you and they're like, hey, by the way, just hit me up letting you know I can fucking take control of people's fucking computers through your online thing, you might want to fix that. Maybe answer them.
So this was
Yeah,
a threat in
so-
all the games, like Dark Souls 2 and 1.
So it was demonstrated in Dark Souls 3, and then it was realized that Dark Souls 1 through 3, Dark Souls Remastered, all share the same exploit. So
Yeah.
every single PvP server is down currently. At first it was just people saying don't get online. Second, the modding community actually has a modded patch for this available. There's been some online
funny.
safety patches that
So the modders fixed it.
I was literally
Save
about
the
to say
day
you want
again.
to know the best part about this is that most of the time modders fix it before the
Didn't they fix
With-
Denovu too? Didn't they fix Monster Hunter World before?
Yeah,
fucking-
yeah.
Yeah.
Monster
So
Hunter
within
World Fallout 76 had one as well that modders fixed before the fucking developers.
So within 24 hours, the modders had a fix on Dark Souls
Not
3
surprising.
and Dark Souls 2, and they were working on Dark Souls 1 and Remastered
Man,
when Bandai Namco shut down the PvP servers.
can we just give a moment of applause for the modders out there?
Dude, the modders and like the good hackers of
Yeah.
the world. Thank you. And the biggest takeaway from this is it was found to be an issue with all of those games, and through the network test and the data pulled from the network test, it was shown that Elden Ring shared this same
I don't doubt it.
exploit.
It was gonna
Because
be prevalent in that too.
You got to remember is with these some of these types of companies, they don't change their net code. Like between games, nothing changes necessarily.
Yeah,
The net code still stays the same. Yeah.
So not only did they save like the PvP community from these games so they
That's
can
crazy, man.
continue doing stuff, they most likely saved Elden Ring from having a New Worlds-esque online botch whenever it came out. So bravo to the hacking community, bravo to the modding community, and bravo to the Souls community for spreading awareness of this all so that it can get fixed before Elden Ring comes out in 30 days.
How does that feel?
How many hours? 30 days. You got the hours?
I think I'm actually wrong with that. I don't have.
I had the hours for what's it called?
Cyberpunk.
What the heck? What the heck, Bill?
Damn it, Bill, stop your game.
Not a good enough fucking fanboy, bro.
Not a big
days and hours for Lost Ark.
We've got 11 days, 12 hours, 13 minutes. No.
28 days, 7 minutes, and 55 seconds.
8 days, right?
28 days.
There you go, man.
Cool. Well, thank you for reporting that on the Dark Souls side. We're going to burn through these last two topics fairly quick because, like I said, I want to spend a good amount of time on this last one, which is big news. But Final Fantasy 14 is back on sale.
Yes.
You can buy the game again.
Wait, I was confused real fast. It's back on sale or it's back on the market completely?
It's back on the market.
Back on completely. It was taken completely. They took it completely down.
Taken down. Like it wasn't even for sale.
Yes.
Yeah,
you could not buy it anywhere.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So successful you can't buy it.
That's.
But please don't buy it. I still need to finish the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a month.
And actually, Final Fantasy 14 is the true NFT. That's the true one.
The best part about this whole entire situation is the memes that have come out. Like prior it was, hey, have you heard about the award-winning, critically acclaimed MMORPG from Square Enix, Final Fantasy 14, that has a free trial that you can go all the way through 2 expansions? Fucking blah 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 blah. And now it's, please don't buy it. Please don't buy it.
Well, I don't think they've turned.
Play my game.
I don't think they've turned on free trials again. I think that's still turned off, isn't it?
Free trials are still down.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, at least you can now buy Endwalker again.
That was crazy too, because like when they were doing the original one before they stopped selling it, if you were on a free trial, you couldn't play. You weren't in the queue.
Well, I don't necessarily see a problem with that. I think that's like you're the first.
It's
man,
not a bad thing.
I'm
not saying you're freeloading essentially. I mean,
right.
Not in the nicest way possible.
I mean, in the great scheme of things, you're not paying anything to play the game. They need to pay people to play it. So
exactly.
So, and then Blizzard announced that they are making a survival game.
Yeah, it's an interesting move for them, man.
It's a completely different move, you know.
Yeah,
especially considering that Microsoft doesn't take over for another 2 years. This is just a complete.
I mean the game isn't done yet. They're just announcing the development. So
yeah,
I'm sure it'll be taken over.
I think it's still an early.
It's still in
I can't imagine it comes out until Microsoft takes over.
Yeah,
it'll be years until or after they take over. I would imagine at least.
Yeah, because they're still hiring for it based on this, and all it says that they're working on a brand new survival game set in a whole new universe. It's not going to be in WoW or anything like that.
No.
It is a survival game for PC and console. Place full of heroes we have yet to meet, stories we have yet to be told, and adventures we have yet to live. A vast realm of possibility waiting to be explored. They're hiring like engineering, all the big stuff. So
I just never saw Blizzard doing a survival game. But
neither.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Sure, why not?
See.
So let's dive into what is gonna. Well, I mean, it's good. It's a talking point. It's big news, man. If you don't think it's big news, then I don't know, you're fucking crazy. But I'm pulling this up because I'm and going over to this. I'm gonna pull a screen grab so that we can use this in discussions. But middle of last week, some news kind of came out that I don't think anybody was expecting. It was extremely well kept, hidden, and it got dropped actually Tuesday, is when it happened. And Microsoft bought fucking Activision and Blizzard. Like, Zynga had the top, or Take-Two had the number one for purchases for a video game company. They topped the charts at 12 billion. Microsoft said, "Hold my fucking beer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in here and 68.7 is the exact total. If you want to be cheeky, 69. If you want to be over the top, 70. $1 billion with a fucking B. $1 billion. Largest acquisition of any company ever in gaming history as far as price point wise. And needless to say, it shocked the gaming world, right? You're talking about a lot of IPs. A handful of IPs, but you're talking about cross market games,
very big IPs.
Yeah, very very big IPs. A lot of stuff, right? So I just want to. One of the things that we're going to talk about, right? We're not going. This is keeping fanboyism and all of these things kind of apart, and really just talking about the topics at hand, of which is facts that are out there. Obviously we're going to give our opinions and things like that, but our job as this podcast is we don't pull punches. We hold true to what we believe and things like that, and open it up to free discussion. But there's two sides to this conversation, which is one of which is based in facts and things that we know. Two, which is things that are coming down the line that we can see kind of from history and past presidencies. And then three is whether it's Microsoft side or Sony side being fanboys. That is just I think we all can agree of that is not the viewpoint to take a stand on and look at. You have to look at it from all perspectives. So with that, I am pulling up a screen grab here. Which is if you're on watching us live, you're able to see I have a thing that shows all of the major players in the video game industry companies: Tencent, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Take-Two, EA, Sega, Valve, Ubisoft, Capcom, and then it gets smaller and smaller: WB, Bandai Namco, Square Enix, Konami, and then independent studios. Prior to this, if we take Tencent out of the equation, Sony had the most amount of studios acquired underneath them that worked as a Sony-owned organization. After this acquisition, all of the sub studios that Activision and Blizzard owned, Activision owned, Microsoft has now topped the charts as the number one, which I believe is at 21 studios total. I think is what they own.
I think so.
Off recently.
They have gone off. They have started buying a lot of shit. So the one thing that this kind of started was this idea and the concept that Call of Duty is no longer going to be an exclusive, or no longer going to be on the PlayStation Store, or PlayStation at all. And Phil Spencer came out, and whether you like Microsoft or not, I have to stand by Phil Spencer. I love that man. I think that he is God's gift to gaming. I really do. I think he envisions gaming in a way that is ahead of Microsoft, ahead of Sony, and really above all anybody's kind of vision of what they see it. But he came out and was like, "Look, it's staying on PlayStation. We have no we're not here to take it off of PlayStation, or to take it away from Sony platforms." And it obviously is not in perpetuity, but forever. But I mean, he as it stands right now, they are honoring any kind of contract and all the stuff like that. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to open it up because I can continue to talk for days. And there was a link.
Oh.
Let's just say, if you were part of our podcast discussion Discord, there was a lengthy discussion that was had amongst all of us. To the point that probably Scruffy went back and said, "I'm not reading 900 page worth of shit. This is fucking crazy."
Just ding, ding, ding. I'm like, oh my god.
So, open the floor. Thoughts, guys. Like, and Scruffy, honestly, I really want to hear your opinion on this because you were quiet throughout all of this.
Yeah,
So.
he said nothing.
I mean, okay, well, I don't know. I think it's a huge acquisition. I 100%, am in support of Phil Spencer and everything he's doing. I love the guy that he's keeping, the games that Sony players love. I think he's, about the player base and the consumer base more than anything. He doesn't want to be this like monopoly over everything, but I think what he can do is honestly turn these companies that they're acquiring. I think he can turn them around for the better, including Blizzard and fucking Activision, because God knows they need it right now. I don't have too much to say, but I think it's a great move. I think it's a great step, and I'm honestly excited to see what Microsoft does with these companies that they've been acquiring, and I think there's honestly great things to come from it more than anything. Anyone who's salty or mad about it that Microsoft is acquiring these companies, I don't think they see the bigger picture. I think there's, like I said, I think there's good things coming from this.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you used the word monopoly.
Yeah.
Right, because that's been thrown around quite a bit by a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people angry about the acquisition. They've been throwing around the word, oh well, Sony's now a monopoly. They're just gonna continue buying shit up left and right. It's just fucking Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yes, sorry. No, obviously you can see my bias. So the biggest thing that I have a problem with, and it was one of the things that we had a conversation about inside the podcast chat, was, if this was on the other foot and it was Sony grabbing up this studio, if it was Sony grabbing up Activision Blizzard, I guarantee you that we would not have this much of an outrage. I guarantee you that we would not have people sitting here saying, "Oh, Sony is becoming a monopoly. Fuck them. This is ridiculous. Why? How? This is outrageous. How dare you acquire a studio that's falling apart and try and fucking pull it back off of, pull it back from its bootstraps and shit. I guarantee you. I mean, we would probably have it from Microsoft in the Microsoft fanboys, at least in some small form.
I don't think it would be fire and pitchforks, though.
Yeah, but that's what I was about to say. I don't think it would be as big of a deal as we're seeing on Twitter for this from the Sony. From the Sony fanboys, and fanboy is such a harsh word. People react so badly to it, but like that's essentially what you are. You're a fan of Sony, you're right. Like that's what you're telling me when you say, "Oh well, Microsoft can fuck off because Sony would never do this." Right? No, Sony would do it in a heartbeat if they had the fucking money, in a heartbeat, and you wouldn't say anything about it. So what does that say about you and your hypocrisy? Right. And that's the biggest thing that I had an issue with. And I think that me and Bill kind of clashed heads on this. And then Bill, I'll apologize right here. I'll openly say I did not. If it came off as me calling you a fanboy, I that was not my intention. Okay.
It's all good.
So, and I'm not trying to call you out or anything like that, but that's that was my observation was, well, if this was on the opposite foot and it was Sony pulling this, nothing would have been said by anybody, right? Like it would have just went down as like, hey, fucking Microsoft, screw you. It's now an exclusive, but piss off, we're now getting all of these games as exclusives, because I guarantee you, and you can argue with me about this, and I dare any of you to argue with me about this, I can guarantee you that Call of Duty would have been an exclusive for Sony at that point.
I believe it.
I mean, that's neither here nor there, since it's not the conversation at hand. You can talk that all day, but since it's not a reality, what I do want to add to the conversation, and I'm glad that you brought it up, Enigma, was you said if Sony had the ability to make this purchase, they would have. And while I disagree with you that I feel like the outrage would have been just as big if Sony had purchased it as if Microsoft had purchased it. I think the reason why the Microsoft purchasing it outrage hits a little bit harder is just because Sony does not, without making an unreasonable risk for the company itself, would not have been able to make this purchase.
Well,
That's
that's besides the point. Regardless if they had if they had the capita to do it or not, if they had it, they would.
Which they don't.
If they had it, they would have.
But they don't.
But they don't, and that's fine.
And that is the problem that I'm seeing is if you take Microsoft, which is the number 2 tech company in the world, they have a $2.3 trillion market cap. Compare that to Sony, who has a $128 billion market cap. That would have went over 50% of Sony's market cap to even like compete in this purchase. And whenever there's no ability to compete one way or the other in that, that's where my concerns lie. And I think that's where a lot of people's concerns lie. And I wasn't very good at stating this point in the podcast because it was all fresh. There were tensions, like emotions were high. I will give you that one. Emotions were high on the subject. But the unreasonable ability for anybody to compete in that space compared to the number 2 tech company, the only person that even remotely has a chance to compete with Microsoft on that level would be Tencent, and they're a $601 billion. They don't even break the $1 trillion threshold. So that's where my concerns lie. And I understand that it's comparing game studios and stuff to an overall tech company. I understand that Xbox is not where all $2.3 trillion of Microsoft's revenue go into. But this is the biggest tech purchase of all time, so they at least do see value in the gaming space.
It's the biggest game purchasing. It's not the biggest tech purchase. It's the biggest gaming purchase.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the biggest, if not. I thought it was the biggest tech
purchase. I'm not arguing.
It's at least the biggest tech purchase that Microsoft.
I don't think it's the biggest tech purchase. I would agree that it's the biggest gaming purchase that Microsoft has ever purchased.
Well, it's the biggest gaming purchase anybody's ever done. Period. It's
because if you think about it, when they bought out Dell and everything like that back in like the 70s.
No, this is the biggest tech deal ever.
Take into effect inflation and everything like that, and the way that the dollar is, I would imagine that it would be pretty close.
Given inflation, the biggest prior tech deal was Dell purchasing EMC for $67 billion. So given inflation, they're probably comparable. But it's either the first or the second biggest tech purchase, and then everything past that doesn't even come close.
But my statement still does stand. If Sony did have the ability to do that, if it was Sony on the other end, and Sony was the one that forked out $70 billion, nobody would have said anything.
Well, let's take it back this way. Let's look at it from another perspective, right? So, do all of us agree, or at least in my opinion, I see that this was not like Microsoft just came in and said, $70 billion, we're going to buy the company. That's it. Like, fuck off everybody else. I purposely and are really wholeheartedly think that the shitstorm that was going on inside of Activision Blizzard, right? The dumpster fire that was happening, the pressure that why is his name blanking? Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick was getting from not only investors, but the stock price dipping. I mean, the stock of Activision was fucking plummeting to the ground. Wish I would have bought fucking stock prior to the damn buyout, but was plummeting to the ground. I think all of the pressure coming in, right? His way was like, I can either ride this into the fucking ground and we're gonna go out burning, or I can sell, right? And he can sell, and now it doesn't get away from the lawsuits, but it gets him basically out in a year and a half on a fucking, I'm sure fat ass fucking
a nice stipend,
right,
Yeah.
like exit package where I'm sure Microsoft went in and goes, hey, you're leaving. Here's fucking $30 million or whatever, 120 million, whatever the fuck he's gonna make, which he doesn't deserve, and get out, go away. But I firmly believe that Sony had an opportunity to purchase this. Like, I think that this was shopped. I don't think that this was just a situation of like Microsoft that came in and just said, hey, 70 billion, we'll buy the company. You're in a shit show. This is bad. Let me buy it. No, whatever. Maybe it did, but most acquisitions
I
don't
would
occur
say
like
you're
that.
right that it was probably shopped, but again, to what I was saying, you can't. It's a lot harder of a pill to swallow for Sony to fork up over half of their market cap than it is for Microsoft to throw chump change at a company and purchase it.
Well, true, but that's no. I mean, that's
they're completely they're
Well,
on
it's just
completely two
business.
ends of the spectrum. It is just business, but with a company that has that much capital to throw around, if they wanted to, they could effectively prevent anybody from purchasing anything by throwing more money at it. It's
Yeah, they could, but I'll throw back to what you had said before when it came to it's all speculative. You're speculating on that.
well,
Completely.
Whether speculation or not, what I will say is that I think the argument of the amount that was paid can be held to say, okay, cool, like, because we don't know what those back office conversations were. Maybe Sony could have gone and said, hey, $20 billion, 20 billion. That's what we comfortably, we are 20 billion, we'll buy you. And Activision was like, yeah, okay, cool, 20 billion. Microsoft goes in and goes, fuck it. I don't want Sony involved.
Bidding war.
$70 billion, right? Like, so, that's where you can have a conversation about the art of negotiation and whatever. Because I've dealt with it in my current job of dealing with negotiation, where it's like, fuck, I can't go that low. Like, I can't go that high. Like, you're fucking crazy. Like, I don't have the ability to do that. Like, and it's and you can, whether you call it unfair or not. And I'm not saying, Bill, you're saying unfair, but what I'm saying is that there are people out there that will be like, it's not fair because Microsoft is successful. Well, that's not a fair argument to necessarily hold against them.
I'm not hating on Microsoft's success. I'm hating, well, not even hating. I'm concerned in a tech giant competing with sub top 100 gaming companies in that space.
Honestly, it does come off threatening how big Microsoft is and how much they really could, take over.
The biggest thing is that Microsoft has always been that big.
Well, yeah,
So
I know.
Why hasn't there been? That was my biggest thing. Is
well, I think it's now because they are starting to make all these moves, starting with Bethesda and now Activision Blizzard. I think they're making these bigger plays, and I think it is threatening. But I don't think people see it.
But prior to those purchases, everybody that was on Sony's side was like, "Oh, Microsoft is doing terribly. They're shitty. They don't have any fucking games. They don't have any exclusives. What are they going to do? They're losing." Well, Microsoft took that into effect and said, "Okay,
yeah."
So let me ask you.
So essentially, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
Very good.
Essentially, I wouldn't say Sony in itself, but Sony's user base was what forced this to happen, because they were the ones that were pushing the whole.
I don't think they had anything
Sony
to do with it.
Sony is pushing
I
this.
think it was just business.
Wait, so Enigma, you're saying
that it was just business.
Wait. So hold on, Enigma. You're saying that you believe that Sony's fan base had a reason for Activision getting purchased?
I'm saying that Sony's fan base were for years pushing the fact that Sony had exclusives. That was why Sony was winning. Well, Microsoft took that into account, I think, and we're like, okay, well, we don't have exclusives. That's fine, but we're gonna buy game development companies at this point.
Okay, so I think we all agree that Sony, and I think we said this like 4 podcasts ago or 5 podcasts ago. Sony and Nintendo are very much on this mentality of in my opinion, a very old school mentality of this is the way that gaming is done. This is platform, whatever, like exclusives. This is it, right? And just recently has Sony started to release this stuff on PC,
which is good.
I think it's great, and I think that a lot of that has to do with and agree with me. Maybe I'm right or wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really think that Microsoft, by saying putting Game Pass on PC and pushing this narrative of like, fuck
Play where you want.
the platform, play where you want.
Yeah.
It's forcing Sony's hand to say, hey, we have to evolve. And I think I said this in the podcast channel, like evolution has to happen. And I want to pose this question before, it goes too far or we get, wherever we're going to go with this. I want to really pose this question to everybody here. If you take Microsoft and you no longer look at them as a platform, right? As a gaming platform, take the Xbox, throw it out the fucking window, right? It does. And in reality, when it comes to sales and comparison, it's a fucking shit show. I mean, it pales in the comparison that PS5 is doing with Sony, right? Sony has done a phenomenal job. If we take that as a platform and say it's no longer a platform, they are literally just a publisher. Does this conversation still have weight? Like, does this argument, does this feeling, does this animosity that Microsoft, by coming from, the gaming side on mainly Sony's side, does that still hold water? Anybody feel free to jump in.
I was about to say, I agree with you. No, I completely 100%. I don't think it holds merit, because then it just wouldn't be even a topic, pretty much. Sony would just be in their own little realm, doing their own little thing.
Bill,
Yeah.
What do you think? Because again, Bill, you are our dedicated kind of, so I mean, you're the only one in here that owns a Sony platform. I don't own a platform.
It's all in the gamer space. I think there is still, whether they're just exclusively a development company and they say fuck the Xbox itself specifically, like the plastic box isn't the problem. Neither of the plastic boxes are the problem. It's the ability to compete in the gaming market that is the problem, and that is, at least for me, the concern.
Okay, because my thing is that I think the route that I see is, I see Microsoft putting all of this to Game Pass, and then in turn going to Sony and saying Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo, Game Pass on Nintendo. Like, let's do it. Like, who gives a fuck about the Xbox? Fuck exclusivity. It's not exclusive to a console. It's exclusive to a this Game Pass or whatever else. That's where it's going to be.
It'd be so much more consumer friendly.
So one, is there an issue with that? And then two, does Sony and Nintendo say it? Nintendo, Nintendo's off in their own fucking la la land. Like, I mean, they don't always, whatever. But do you see Sony saying yes to Game Pass on their system?
I don't know.
You're still talking in the world that Xbox doesn't exist.
Even if Xbox does exist, like, we've all know that, and they've said this narrative has been Game Pass. Like, Game Pass is where it's at. Like, we only, like, realistically, like, they have only talked about Game Pass, period, and that's like their new thing.
So you're saying if Microsoft came to Sony saying put Xbox or Game Pass on Sony on PlayStation,
we're offering, you want ESO, you want Elder Scrolls, you want these things, like, you can absolutely have it. We want you to have it on Game Pass, like Game Pass on Sony's on PlayStation. Allow it.
I don't know if I see Sony doing that, unfortunately. I would love to see them do that, but I think they even have plans to do their own Game Pass quotations, their own kind of thing like that. I don't know. I wish. I mean, that would make everything so much easier, Yeah,
I understand. Like, I understand the fears that people have, and I understand the other side.
Why?
Huh?
Like, that's I was about to say, so do I. Like, that's one
why?
thing.
I was like, oh, I'm trying
No. I said, so do I. And that's one thing that I don't think we've really touched on. Like, I understand where you're coming from when it comes to fears of monopoly. Do I think it is a monopoly? No. Do I think it has the ability to be a monopoly? Yes. But so do I feel the same way about Sony. I feel the same way about Nintendo. Any company has the ability to become a monopoly.
But they don't.
I don't know if
Yes,
they
they do.
have as much power as Microsoft, but
there's
the only thing stopping
you're gonna
the only thing
follow-
stopping Sony from becoming a monopoly is the fact that they're literally just essentially a game company, other than their interests in entertainment, I suppose. Which I don't even know if Sony can, or if Sony necessarily like lumps that into their gaming franchises, which is the only difference. And I would be curious to see how much money they actually make across all of their platforms, across all of Sony.
I know Sony's gaming is like the big chunk of their like company revenue. I do know PlayStation is like where they make most of their profits. I don't know the exact share, but
Yeah, I'm not
Back
asking
to-
you. I'm not asking you to give me that. I'm just saying I would be curious to see what exactly their actual revenue is across all of their interests, because
I mean,
they're not only Sony.
total
They're not only Sony Gaming. They're also Sony Entertainment.
their total
Um,
assets to date
their
from
total
20
assets are 128 billion.
no
That is
238.31 billion as of the end of 2021.
Through everything.
Through
I'm
everything.
looking at January 2022 right now, and they're at 128 billion, ranked
Is that-
105 on global.
I see that as
rankings.
their net worth, but not their total assets.
I'm looking at market cap. I am not. I don't know the difference.
So, well, all right, we're not a financial podcast. We don't have to like cut hairs in that, but continue. Go ahead.
The you say that any of these companies could effectively become a monopoly, and yes, if they had the capital to do so, they could. But the competition between these companies, and that's why competition within this space specifically is necessary, is so that one group can't just outright outbid any of the other ones. Once that competition dissolves, which is my fear from what I'm seeing with these transactions, then the true fear of a monopoly. Yes, you can hypothesize that Sony would do the same thing if they had the ability, and they very well might. You can say Nintendo would do the very same thing if they had the ability, and they very well might, but they don't. Microsoft does. That is where the difference lies. The competition and the ability to compete on a purely monetary standpoint is not there. And that is, I've seen a few people in like antitrust law and stuff speaking up about it, saying that this could potentially be the last purchase that Microsoft is able to make, at least on this scale, in the gaming sector, just because of their ability to, if they wanted to, and I'm not saying that they have the intentions of going that route, but if they wanted to, they could outbid any of the competitors. There is effectively no competition in that regard, which completely dissolves the market itself.
Yeah, but two things. One, where people are wrong about that is that it's the understanding of an antitrust laws, because this happened with AT&T, and when they broke up into the baby bells. The difference is that it's not about the ability for companies like Tencent or Sony to compete. It's about the ability for physical choice for people to go other places. So, and for other places to make to do said things. So if we're talking games here, it's like, okay, cool. If Microsoft buys Sony, absolutely. Well, then at that point, now it's a monopoly. You have nowhere else to play unless you're, and even then it's still an argument that they could still technically lose, because Nintendo is still a thing, and PC gaming is still technically a thing. Like when you go into antitrust, plus antitrust laws are only universally accepted here in the United States. It is not accepted worldwide. And antitrust laws are completely separate in different parts of the world. So yes, they can say like there is a fear that they would be gobbled up if they want to go and say like, hey, Microsoft's the only place that is publishing these games, and even then it's still, until they literally buy out a majority of, I would say, has to be close to like 70% of these companies that I'm showing here. They're not, like, that argument will not hold water in a court of law, because there are multiple options to go and get said things. Because if that was the case, then every single time that Sony or Microsoft or a game company developed an exclusive game, which if I'm looking at all of this, and I'm not throwing shade on, I'm spitting, like, I'm only talking about facts. If I'm look at all of these things, There's one company specifically in here that is notoriously has exclusivities when it comes to, well, two exclusivities when it comes to games, and it's Nintendo and it's Sony. Those two specifically are the only ones that have exclusivity when it comes to, this is the only place that you can play those games. This is the only place that you can get them. You have to buy them from here. That is closer to a monopoly than it would be, or antitrust than it would be to just buy up these companies. And like they could fully go out and buy 3-4 more of these companies easily, and it not be considered a monopoly. Like I mean, and if Sony wanted to take that, or if whoever wanted to take that route, like they're gonna lose. Like they're gonna lose that argument. The other point I wanted to make was Sony has done this before, and I'm gonna take you guys back to a time that's called the mid 2000s. You guys remember the whole like HD DVD versus Blu-ray, kind of what was going to be the next thing when it came to how discs were done. Yep. Sony 100% threw their weight around and essentially bought the rights that made it to where Blu-ray was the only option. That's it. No more. Like they killed HD DVD by themselves. Like there was no other company that was involved with it. Like it literally was Sony. Like you can go and look at it, and Sony that was it. You either had HD DVDs or you had Blu-rays. Sony came in and said, yeah, you know what? We're just going to make it so this is the only way that you're going to do it. And it was not like it was just ultimately decided because they were better. Literally, when it came to films, when it came to cinematography, when it came to game design, everything, it was nope, Blu-rays. That's it. Here you go. Like Sony has done this before. Like Sony has done and that was my biggest thing when I had seen not in our podcast chat, but like I had seen people on Twitter or whatever else boasting that like, well, Sony would never do something like this. Well, no, Sony has done this before. Like Sony did it recently, very recently, where they said this is it. And to the fact that not a lot of people know this, every single video game purchase that is made, right? Sony gets a cut because those are all done on Blu-rays. Like those are Blu-ray discs that Sony makes money off of. Like digital, obviously no, but on a digital form, like a DVD format, yeah, Sony makes a cut of that. So like that's where my thing is. Like I'm all for open discussion. I'm all for arguments. I'm all for like people throwing things around. But if you're gonna talk about stuff in a real world business setting from an acquisition standpoint and what could and whatever else, like understand that these two companies are not far apart. Sony absolutely like has locked stuff behind, content behind their stuff. I mean, they've done it recently, right? With, and I talked about this in the podcast channel, was like Marvel, right? They locked Spider-Man and they own the rights to Spider-Man, right? I get it, but they have locked that behind, Sony's platform. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's a fair thing to do. I think that I look at that as being worse than just saying it's exclusive. I would much rather just say, hey, the game is only playable there versus saying, hey, the game is acceptable all over the world, but you're only going to get this piece of content just here, right? And just this one platform. I hate that. Like, I think that's shitty. And we've seen that in Destiny. Like, and it's not Sony's the only one that did it. Fucking Bungie did it with Destiny, right?
Bungie's done it, yeah.
Right. But again, it was also, I mean, I hate to point it out, but it was also on Sony's side that did that. Like it was a PlayStation exclusive that you only could get stuff on PlayStation, and that's an MMO. Like that's a not a single player experience. So that's where I have issues with it. It's just like if we're gonna call Microsoft green, call Sony blue, right? If you're gonna call bullshit on one, call bullshit on all. Like it's not just a one or the other kind of thing, in my opinion. And I don't. And
you can talk sins of the father all day, but that's not the conversation we're having with the current purchase.
I would say I think it plays into the fact of the arguments that people were saying and that were being brought up.
I still think, at least with the current mindset of Microsoft, that if push comes to shove, nobody can shove back against Microsoft, and that's a problem with the gaming market specifically. That's just my mindset on it.
Okay, to each their own. I mean,
And I will agree with you. Game Pass is a great thing for consumer. It is a good route to go, but I also don't want it to build into a world where the only place to play games is Microsoft because the other competition bowed out because they couldn't compete.
You're never going to have a world like that, especially with Sony and Nintendo. If push that comes to shove and that happens, Sony will just do their own thing, like they've been doing for multiple years with their exclusives. Same with Nintendo; they'll just continue doing their own thing. I don't think necessarily that Microsoft is going to push Sony out of making content, making games. Do you believe that?
I don't know. I feel like they have the ability to, and that is a concern.
I would be.
But how? I just don't understand how they would be able to push Sony out of making their own exclusives, considering Sony is their own development company. Unless they're going to buy Sony, which I don't think Sony will ever sell, no matter how much money Microsoft puts down on the table.
I think to put it in perspective, right? I think the argument or the answer there, what Enigma is necessarily saying is that what happened to our screens?
Okay.
It's
The AFK.
Welcome back, Scruffy.
Scruffy just went somewhere. Okay. But so okay, Bill is not a chipmunk, by the way, for anybody that's wanting to know. That's Craig. He's our resident chipmunk.
Craig's our cameraman and resident
and
creeper.
Chinese overlord. So the thing here is that Sony is it's actually a point in Sony's column because Microsoft is losing the console war, right? If we talk about just console sales, Microsoft's losing them. The reason being is because you can play. I don't need to go and buy an Xbox. I can play their games anywhere I want. I can play them on my PC, my phone, wherever. I don't need the console. Sony, if I'm gonna go like Call of Duty, for instance, like Call of Duty is across all platforms. Nobody goes and buys a PlayStation because of Call of Duty. They go and buy a PlayStation because they want to play Call of Duty, but they also look at it and go, I want to play God of War. I want to play, Ratchet and Clank. I want to play Bloodborne. I want to play, whatever games are across their exclusives, right? When was the last time someone came up and said, I'm buying an Xbox because I want to play all of these games, but I also want to play Xbox exclusives? Like, don't worry, I'll wait. Like, can anybody on here tell me when the last time you ever heard somebody tell me that? Like, realistically, it doesn't happen, right? So I think that's what Enigma is kind of pointing to, is saying if Sony wants to stop, like Sony doesn't get out of the gaming world unless Sony is pushed out of the gaming world, because they are making more money on consoles, which you don't make a lot of money, but they have exclusive titles. Like they do have things that are not released out into anywhere else until just recently. Like, I mean that's the kind of the thing there is that they're not going anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't see a gaming world where Sony goes, oh, you won, Microsoft, GG. Here, take our company.
I mean, if anything,
I
think
I don't see that happening.
I would say that I think that you're going to see a world where consoles are going to go away, and they're just going to become digital platforms for places for people to get games. That's the future I see. I don't see Sony as a platform company anymore. I don't see Microsoft as a platform company anymore. I see them as publishers.
Yeah.
And the Nintendo doing whatever the fuck.
Sony's been moving that way for a while now with their acquisition of their first party or their first party stuff, as well as their acquisition of other second party or whatever you want to call it, the second party developers. Like I can't remember the name of the fucking company, but the one that makes Psychonauts or whatever. Is it Psychonauts or is it?
Psychonauts is
no, it's not Psychonauts.
Double Fine.
Yeah, whatever it is, they're second party development companies, right? Like I don't see them stopping the acquisition of those things. And as you've so blatantly as you've so blatantly pointed out, the companies that were bought out by Sony were already working with Sony regardless. I don't see them stopping that anytime soon.
Let me ask the last question because we're over our time and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because this is not like this is the last acquisition. Like, if you guys think that this is the last acquisition, it's fucking crazy. Out of all these companies,
the antitrust laws are not going to take into effect. Sony and Microsoft are going to continue acquiring fucking companies.
Is there?
It's going to happen.
Is there with these companies that you see on the list? Two, I'm not gonna go three, but two companies that you see, Sony or Microsoft. Like, what is the next buyout by either company? I'm not saying Microsoft's buyout or Sony's buyout. Like, which one? Like, what company on this list do you see as being the next one picked up?
I thought Capcom was owned by Sony.
Nope.
That's
They
never
work
been.
extremely closely with Sony.
Okay.
It's about
That's
the
why
only-
Monster Hunter got
Sony
an
and Nintendo.
exclusive for their system.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Sony
one
and
for me.
Nintendo. Capcom are huge with Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah,
Don't
I
ask me
I
why.
already thought it was owned by Sony, so I could see that going to Sony. Unless Microsoft beats them.
Well, and again, I pose the question of if they're already working that close with Sony. I really don't. I mean, unless it all comes down to money, which again, it's business.
does.
So it is business. So, and if Microsoft can be like, hey, I know that you're really close with Sony, but here's $70 billion, and they go, fuck Sony, I'm taking the money. That's on them.
Do you guys see a world where Microsoft buys Valve?
I've said yes. Enigma says I'm
would believe
crazy,
that
bro.
because I mean they're so close already.
I could see a world where Microsoft tried to buy Valve. Whether Valve actually sold to them or not are two different things. I think the Valve would say no, and I've argued this fucking tooth and nail with Sin because he's like, oh, it doesn't matter, and I'm like, no, it does.
I think that they would sell us.
I think that Microsoft has put out a purchase request for Valve multiple times, and Valve told them, no, we're good.
I think they would sell.
Whatever
If-
company
if-
buys Valve, that's the end all. That's it. Put the nail in the
That is
coffin.
true.
That one is
Yeah.
fucking done. Like, you
That is
own
true.
gaming at that point.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
no, I
Go
just-
ahead.
Oh, imagine Steam going to consoles though.
I
mean, it's-
I wouldn't see Steam.
So
going to
it's already
consoles.
slated for it, I
I
think,
would
isn't
see. You would just see that, like, my thing behind it was that Microsoft or Sony. It leans more toward Microsoft, but Microsoft being able to own Valve, the distribution that
Yeah.
Steam has in place, like that is Game Pass at that point. You then go,
Well,
hey,
that's-
cool. There's a Steam Pass. It's Steam Pass or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and it's just
That's their biggest pitfall, though, right? Like Microsoft's biggest pitfall is their shop, their store. It's shit. Nobody likes to use it, right? So if
Game
they
Pass is so
did
prevalent.
purchase, if they did purchase Valve and they got a hold of Steam, there goes all their woes with their store.
yeah. So again, I go back to the quick question. I'll answer first off. I think Capcom. I see Capcom, Ubisoft. I think Capcom is the next one because one, I think Microsoft needs a Japanese-based company. They need an Eastern-based company. They have no foothold in Eastern culture really at all. Capcom or Square Enix. Konami's a fucking joke. Nobody wants that.
Sony wants it.
So, yeah, Sony wants it.
Okay, sure. I don't buy the IP. Don't buy Konami. But I see Capcom or Square would be Square. No, I really do see. I see Capcom, Ubisoft, EA, being the next pickups
Microsoft.
by anybody. I mean, I think
okay,
by
by
anybody.
anybody. Oh, okay. I thought this was exclusive. Okay.
I mean, I'll go after
Yeah.
that, and then that's my piece. I think Ubisoft is next. Honestly, they're kind of in the same boat that that Activision Blizzard's in. They're kind of having issues with their sexual misconduct. They're not as bad, obviously, at least not that's been reported to.
Ubisoft
press.
also has made a deal with their Ubisoft Plus being exclusive to Xbox as well. So
Have they? Okay, yeah. I mean,
so
I think
they're
Ubisoft
already
definitely
tying a
going
knot
next.
there.
Definitely going next. I would say Microsoft for sure, but I was surprised that Activision sold to Microsoft. So there
Wait.
is that.
Ubisoft is partially owned by Tencent, though, right?
No.
From what this suggests, it says in green, Tencent
Tencent
owns a
has
part of the company.
They hold minority stake
Okay.
of some type.
So it
So
probably isn't much, but
I say Ubisoft for sure next, and then just looking at it, I would say, you know what? I'm actually gonna throw a wrench in it and say CD Projekt Red. I think we'll go next as well.
No fucking way,
I
bro.
honestly think that Microsoft
Nobody's
will finish
buying
high by
CD
CD Projekt Red.
Project Red.
I think they will, man.
Nobody wants that.
I think they're gonna try.
Nah, those Polish.
Nobody,
those guys
nobody wanted Activision, bro.
Duh.
Activision was a freaking toxic
Don't even
purchase.
sit there and tell me that Activision is we're close to CD Project Red, bro.
No,
Yes.
You're crazy.
CD Projekt Red is better than
Oh my
Activision. In fact, I would say
God.
that CD Projekt Red would have been a safer fucking.
There's not
purchase than
enough
Activision
value in
Blizzard.
CD Project Red. They'll just sit there and do their own thing. They're like Konami. There's just like
know.
whatever, man. Y'all do your
You
thing.
sit there and talk about not enough value, but you got to remember, CD Projekt Red has The Witcher, Cyberpunk, all of their good franchises, as well.
I
as the
commend you,
fucking
man.
launcher.
I'm telling you, no one's looking at them as buying it. That's like
As
Fuck
well as their launcher.
okay, sure. No one gives a
fuck
fuck
it,
about God.
Nintendo's getting bought.
I mean, it's possible.
They just went out. Miyamoto's like, I'm done, man. Please,
Hey,
no
you
more.
can ridicule it all you want. I didn't ridicule your choices, bitch.
You
Fuck
absolutely did when I said Valve. Fuck off.
I didn't ridicule you. I just said they'd never sell.
I see EA being bought, to be honest. EA, Cap, and Ubisoft. That's my three, I think.
I think EA is pretty comfortable with their continuous.
Not after
modern
Battlefield's
franchises.
fucking reviews or not.
I don't know.
Bill, you have any weigh in here? Any company you think would probably be the next on the list?
Microsoft will buy what they want, and then Sony can pick up the scraps. So
Okay. Well, that's it for the show, guys. We are overtime, so we're gonna cut questions out. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to tweet at us, pre-patch team. You can also, we have an email address, right? Don't we have an email address?
Yeah, pre-patch
we do.
team at gmail.com.
Yeah, pre-patch team at Gmail.
Is there any comments on you can message us on Anchor.
You can message us on Anchor. Don't fuck it up. Like if you guys fucking send me some weird shit, I will turn it off.
He'll contact Microsoft to buy him.
You can leave voice messages. If I get a moan from you, Chicken Boy, I'm turning
Oh,
it
God.
off. 100%.
Oh man. Anyway, well, yeah. So there's places you can reach us. Send your questions. We'll make sure to answer them next time, first thing on the show. So yeah. Thank you guys all for being here and hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed your time. Episode 52 is in the books. Boys and girls, what? Okay, what? Chicken Boy, what? You have one question. I see you. You've said it 1,000 times. What's your question? See, chat.
Gotta be snappy.
This is like.
That's why we love you. This is we care, and we'll answer your question.
Absolutely not. That
Even
is
though
too
we're-
long of a question. We are not answering that question right now.
Not that long of a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Hurry. I have to pee.
He's pretty much asking. I mentioned that enemies are spongy in God of War. Just elaborate on that. And it just they take more hits.
Yeah, sponge usually in gaming just means that it takes longer to fucking kill them.
Yeah.
They're fucking insanely hard to kill.
They don't
It
have
takes
different
more
mechanics.
bullets.
They don't have different hits or whatever else. It's literally just.
or anything. It's just whack them all pretty much. Just beat them up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How much can
So-
you whack them?
Yep.
All right, guys. That's it. Thank you guys all for being here. We'll catch you guys next time on Pre-Patch Podcast in 2 weeks, 10:30 Eastern, right here on all of our different channels. You guys,
Arrivederci, baby.
we're outie. Bye.